Welcome back to the jam. Let's get right back into the flow and tackle these inventory problems. So, we are looking at Jennings Co. chip. They use the first in, first out method, or FIFO. The tricky part with FIFO is keeping all those different layers of costs straight as engines move in and out of the warehouse. It is like a stack of pancakes. You eat the ones you made first. Before we dive into the calculations, do you want to walk? All right, let's build this layer by layer. We start on May 1st with 700 engines. That 700 comes straight from the first line of your question. Each one costs $190. Then on July 1st, we buy 500 more engines at $220 each. Now, the next date in the prompt is November 1st, where we sell 400 engines. Since we use FIFO, which batch do you think those 400 engines should come from? The ones we had on May 1st, or the ones we bought in July? Exactly. They come from that batch of 700 we had at the start. We're back. Let's pick up right where we left off with Jennings Co. and finish this off. Let's keep the momentum going. In your question, we bought 300 more engines at $230 each. I just added that as a new layer at the bottom of our inventory stack. Then on April 15th, the question says we sold another 250 engines. Since we still have 300 of those original engines that cost $190, which batch are we pulling this new sale of 250 from? My bad. Let's strip it back. I was jumping ahead. Think of this table like a diary for the warehouse. Each row is just a new event from your question. See that first row? That comes right from the first sentence of question 6.4. 700 units at $190. Then look at the first purchase in the list in your materials, July 1st. 500 engines at $220. I just added that as row 2. Does that look simpler? Perfect. Let's keep building this diary until we hit the end of the year. On November 1st, we sold 400 engines. In FIFO, we always sell the oldest stuff first. So we take those 400 out of the very first batch of 700. Now, looking at your materials, the next thing that happens is on February 1st, we buy 300 more engines at $230 each. Can you tell me what the total quantity in the warehouse is after that purchase? That is a killer question. It is a classic trap in these problems. That 160,000 is the revenue, the money we made. But for inventory valuation, we only care about what it cost us to buy them. If we used the selling price, we would be recording profit we haven't even made yet on the stuff still on the shelf. Does that make sense why we ignore that big number for now? Exactly. Think of it this way. If you buy a pair of shoes for $50 to resell them for $100, those shoes are worth $50 to you while they're sitting in your closet. The $100 only exists once someone actually buys them. So, we ignore those big sales numbers like the 160,000 and the 125,000 and just focus on the cost per unit. I just updated the diary with the last two events, buying 300 more in February and selling 250 in April. If we ignore the dollar signs for a second and just look at the quantity, we had 700, bought 500, sold 400, bought 300, and sold 250. How many engines are actually left in the warehouse at the end? 700 plus 500 is 1,200. Minus 400 is 800. Plus 300 is 1,100. Minus 250. Actually, it looks like we have 850 left. Check my math there. Does 850 sound right to you? Hey, welcome back. We were just crunching the numbers on those engines. So we've got 850 units sitting in the warehouse. Now, since we're using FIFO, first in, first out, it means the stuff we have left must be the newest stuff we bought. We work backwards from the most recent purchase to see what makes up that 850. See how that works? We take the full 300 from February, the full 500 from July. That's 800 total. We still need 50 more to get to our 850. Where do you think those last 50 units are coming from? So we know we have 850 units total. Think of it like filling a bucket from the bottom up with the newest stuff first. We grabbed all 300 from February and all 500 from July. That gets us to 800. But since we actually have 850, we need 50 more to finish the count. Those last 50 have to be the survivors from that very first batch of 700 we started with in May. Does that click? That 188,500 is exactly one of your choices. You just nailed FIFO. Now, question. Great question. In an exam, it's all about being a detective. Your biggest hint for question 6.4 is the word FIFO. That's your signal to work from the bottom of your list of purchases upward when you're valuing what's left. The second hint is the sold for price. Like we talked about, whenever you see a selling price in an inventory question, your brain should scream trap and ignore it. Only look for the cost or purchased at numbers. Ready to see how these hints change when we look at the next problem? Question 6.6? It uses a different trick. Alright, let's jump into Wilson Co. This one is like a time machine problem. November 4th,
and found $483,700 worth of goods. But the company's official year ends on October 31st. We have to undo everything that happened between October 31st and November 4th to get back to the right number. If you bought something on November 2nd after the year ended, should that be included in the October 31st final count?